Happening now, the latest on a fight at Jamestown High School that's led to criminal charges for the students involved, and an update on the parking meter failures here locally as leaders seek long-term solutions going forward. Plus, over a dozen new Jamestown firefighter hires could soon be approved, what that means for public safety in the community.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, our top story today. Criminal charges are pending against two Jamestown High School students. On Tuesday, an off-grounds fight required police intervention. Now, the Jamestown Public School District says that the students involved did not regularly attend class. The district stressing that violence of any kind is not tolerated, and an investigation continues into this altercation. Now, no further details were released. However, police officers did express that the students will face proper charges connected to the crime of violence. Well, even though the city of Jamestown has ordered replacement batteries for the newly implemented parking meters, local leaders, they're seeking a different solution for downtown parking. Last week, Jamestown parking meters failures were highlighted by Councilman Jeff Russell, who outlined concerns from local residents and businesses alike. In an update to council members on Monday, Mayor Eddie Sundquist announced that his office was finally able to make contact with the meter company POM Parking Meters to order 49 replacement batteries. A previous miscommunication between sales reps and customer service prompted this delay. These parking meters were installed at the end of 2021, and in addition to a coin-operated option, they accepted credit cards and online payments. Some parking stations were without a working meter head for months due to the battery failure. A lack of sunlight in the winter months caused a solar panel on them to not properly charge the devices.
Not only are we having to purchase batteries, which are, as mentioned last time, only sold by this company, we also have a monthly fee for each of these meters that we are continue to charge even if there's no battery in it.
Now, going forward, the mayor is talking with other meter companies to see if a more cost-effective option is available. Sundquist suggested looking at considering implementing parking stands versus an individual meter. Well, this year, the city of Jamestown is hiring a dozen new firefighters, thanks in part to federal funding. However, before a final vote to muster recruits is made, local lawmakers, they're concerned with what happens when that funding runs out. Bronson Rasmussen joins us live in the newsroom with more on the new positions and the fiery faults that could be shaping up. Bronson.
Well, Justin, we have previously reported that the Jamestown Fire Department received a $1.8 million FEMA grant to create a slew of new positions. This is on the heels of 4 additional hirees made with the American Rescue Plan Act dollars.
We've not been at full staff since 2002, and then we rotated the station closing since that time. Having this additional grant funding will allow us to bring 8 additional full-time firefighters on board with the goal of opening all the fire stations.
Thinking ahead, some are already worried about potential layoffs when the funding runs out.
I don't want to move forward 3 years from now, and then when we come back and say, well, we have to lay firefighters off, and people act like we were, there was smoke and mirrors going on, and we weren't forthright by telling people that that was a possibility.
Another concern is the price of training for recruits, as current allocations only cover salary costs.
It would be very difficult for the fire academy to accommodate a large number of students just from one particular municipality, since each municipality in New York State competes for positions there, and the class sizes are restricted.
As a potential fix, the fire chief would like to create an in-house fire academy.
So to put it into rough numbers, it costs about $4,000 per recruit to send them out to the fire academy. So that gives us a budget of about $51,000. So that savings, if you will, from having them to go to training, it certainly would enable a program to take place here, give us some leeway to do that.
With the influx of fire personnel in the city of Jamestown, the need for a second ambulance is clear to many within City Hall. Over the next few months, it is expected that local lawmakers will dip into the remaining American Rescue Plan Act dollars to approve the purchase of Ambulance 2. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you very much for that update. Chautauqua County's executive is outlining his priorities for 2023. Executive P.J. Wendell will deliver his State of the County address on Wednesday night. The speech, which will be made in front of the county legislature at 6:30 p.m., will highlight last year's accomplishments while outlining goals for the year ahead. Now, following remarks, the lawmaking body will vote to renew the county's occupancy tax, increasing rates from 5 to 8%. Wendell has expressed the need for an additional 3% increase to the hotel and rental tax, which would help funding environmental efforts to improve the area's lakes and waterways. The full address will be streamed live starting at 6:30 p.m. on Channel 716 on Roku. Well, now let's switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast today. Chief Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson joining us live. And Andrew, that sunshine noticeably gone today. However, it's still spring-like out there temperature-wise.
Yeah, the sunshine is gone for now and the clouds are filtered in. You see those clouds on the First Defense sky cam from Randolph, and then you'll see those clouds on First Defense radar, and nothing in the way of precipitation showing up on radar. There's a couple of sprinkles out there, but those are not hitting the ground. Clouds will continue to filter in through the day, and by the time we come back tomorrow at this time, you'll see the radar filling up with rain as a system brings rain to our region later tonight. Yesterday we made it to a high of 52 degrees, the low was 32. The record high for today, 81, set back in 1938, and the record low of -1 set back in 1988. So the forecast for the rest of the afternoon out there, mainly cloudy skies for the rest of the afternoon. You might see a couple of sprinkles here and there, but otherwise it'll just be a mainly cloudy day. Another warmer day too. Temperatures will range from the upper 40s to the lower 50s, and I'll have a look at that full forecast, including the rain and then some gusty winds possible this week, and I'll have those details coming up.
Yeah, Mother Nature bringing us some of that severe spring weather. Andrew, we'll look forward to seeing it in a bit. As we continue this half hour, the plea for blood donations is increasing as a vital need continues across our region. And later, the CEO of Norfolk Southern pressed by senators on a number of questions related to the evacuation and testing protocols following the February train derailment in Ohio. More on that after this.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
In Albany Tuesday, advocates called on New York legislators to invest more funding into health care in this year's budget. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein is breaking down the issue and talks to advocates about the impact.
Governor Kathy Hochul's healthcare budget proposal includes increasing Medicaid reimbursement rates by 5% for hospitals, nursing homes, and assisted living providers. Healthcare advocates are asking for the governor and legislators to increase the Medicaid reimbursement rates by 10% for hospitals and 20% for nursing homes. Some advocates among the thousands who traveled to Albany today say the final budget needs to reflect these numbers to restore New York's healthcare system.
And healthcare is injurious at this point. And I'll be honest, it's not an exaggeration to say if the resources aren't restored, that people are going to die. We are already at that critical line.
Both chambers of the legislature include some of the increased rates advocates are hoping for in their one House budget resolutions. The Senate and the Assembly propose a 10% Medicaid reimbursement rate for hospitals.
We understand that we are all stronger when we are all working together, and that when we lift one up, we lift everybody up. And nothing happens without our health, and nothing happens without healthcare workers.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Elise, thank you. It seems just about every week a plea for blood donations is being made in our region. What's more, the Community Blood Bank of Northwest Pennsylvania in Western New York could not even complete a recent promotion due to the lack of donors. Since the start of 2023, the blood bank has dealt with a significantly smaller number of donors compared to last year. Now, leaders there are hoping to get more donors with a new Spring into Action campaign, reminding our community that blood is always needed each season and donations stay local.
For the Spring into Action campaign, we're really hoping to encourage donors to donate blood in spring. I think a lot of people think about donating blood around disasters, but actually blood is needed at all times on a regular basis to keep the blood supply stable.
Now, there is a need, all different blood types, especially type O, the first type of blood used in critical and emergency care. Walk-ins are welcome at the Community Blood Bank, but reservations are encouraged. Well, this week, Norfolk Southern was in the hot seat at the Pennsylvania Capitol. In a Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee hearing, CEO Alan Shaw responded to questions and concerns of state senators. Brendan Scanlon has more.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, please say I do.
Under oath for the first time in front of Pennsylvania lawmakers, Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw apologized for the impact of the February 3rd train derailment and vowed to help those afflicted.
You have my personal commitment. We will get the job done, and we will help these communities thrive.
However, senators from both parties expressed concern about the accident and the response.
If you weren't real-time monitoring in their homes or around their homes during this burn, I don't know how anyone can say that it worked or that no harm was done.
Questions remain over the types of chemicals that were involved and whose decision it was to vent and burn train cars carrying toxic chemicals.
It included state and local.
Yeah, I get it. It's a diverse mix of people, but who
are these people?
Thank you.
Is there a specialist? I'm hoping to God there's someone with a lot of knowledge and all these things.
Who said we're going to do this?
Yeah,
that's what we're after. Simple as that. It's not a hard question.
Senators pressed Shaw for over an hour.
Well, sometimes it felt like we're pulling teeth to get answers.
Committee Chairman Doug Mastriano is skeptical that the decision was up to the local fire chief, who Shaw says was the incident commander.
Ultimately, the decision falls under the incident commander.
And that was the fire chief then of East Palestine, you're saying?
I don't buy it that a local fire chief signed off on it.
Mastriano is hoping for more transparency throughout the process.
This is going to be a solution to a long haul problem.
In Harrisburg, Brendan Scanlon reporting.
Brendan, thank you. Norfolk Southern has pledged over $7 million so far for a community relief fund in Pennsylvania, as well as reimbursements for fire and EMS response. Well, Waldameer has made a splash by installing the first piece of their new water ride, Rocket Blast, on Tuesday. This ride will have up to 4 guests riding down 800 feet of slides on toboggan-style rafts and features 3 uphill sections, 3 large turns, and stands at 67 feet tall. Waldemir says they're working hard to get the ride operational by the water park's opening day on Memorial Day weekend.
It's exciting that yesterday we put down the first large piece of our new Rocket Blast water slide, and it's going to be a very exciting addition to our water park. We've had a lot of construction delays, mostly on material getting delivered here in time, but we're going to work as hard as we can to get this slide ready for Memorial Day weekend. That's our goal.
Now, Waldemir opens on May 6th for season pass holders and May 13th for the public. The water park opens May 27th. Well, coming up next, the latest on interest rate hike and what it means for everyday people here in Western New York. And later, an update on the grand jury indictment push against former President Donald Trump. But first, Andrew has a full look at our weather forecast after this.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights.
Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
To help you.
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger.
This danger is real.
Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
15-year-old Yadiel Diaz was subject to a public humiliation stunt by a fellow student in an act of violence and bullying. Now Yadiel's mother, Raquel, has had enough.
Officials are trying to work with the county's homeless coalition to help support the homeless population locally. There are also plans in the works to build 2 new shelters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Clouds are locked in downtown Jamestown. The current temperature at Jamestown Airport is 46 degrees with a south wind of 12 miles per hour. So now that we are into officially spring, let's take a look at the snowfall at the Jamestown Airport. This is for the winter season from December 21st, which was the first day of winter up until a few days ago when spring officially arrived. The average for this period should be about 69.6 inches, and we ended up with about 33.9 inches at the Jamestown Airport for the winter, which means we ended up well below average with about 35.7 inches below average for the winter season. Hopefully the snow is done for now. Across the northeast right now, clouds are starting to build in out ahead of a low pressure system that's currently centered over Minnesota. That low pressure system will move across the area later tonight and tomorrow and bring some widespread rain to the region and eventually swing a cold front across the region later tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. So let's time it out on future scan. Through the rest of the afternoon out there, mainly cloudy skies, maybe a sprinkle here or there, but most of the day should be dry. As that low pressure system begins to move across the area later tonight, widespread rain showers will begin to overtake the region tonight and into the day tomorrow. There might even be a couple rumbles of thunder tomorrow afternoon across the southern tier. And then that cold front moves through later tomorrow afternoon and into the evening hours, and that cold front will clear the area by tomorrow night, and drier weather will work into the region by the time Friday moves around. And then we do the same thing all over again on Saturday, and that's our next weather maker. Another low pressure system will be moving across the region Saturday, which will bring more rain to the region, but there's also potential potential that will bring some gusty winds to the region. Right now, we're looking at possibly some wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour across the southern tier, 50 to 55 mile per hour gusts across the lakeshore. Now, these wind gusts are not a sure thing yet. It all depends on where the track of that system moves across to our north. That's how it depends on the track of that system will depend on if we see those gusty winds on Saturday. And now the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Temperatures today and tomorrow, low to mid 50s, and then that cold front moves through tomorrow night, dropping the temperatures to the low 40s for Friday, and then we'll go back up to the upper 40s on Saturday with that rain, and then temperatures in the lower 40s on Sunday, and then we do it again next week. Another chance for some rain and snow showers after a dry day Sunday with rain and snow Monday and Tuesday, and temperatures right around average to maybe slightly below average on Tuesday.
Yeah, seems like Mother Nature may be going to level things out going forward. Hopefully no surprise, snowstorms at the end of this month. Andrew, thank you very much for that. Well, let's get some headlines now from around the nation. And the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will be at the front and center of a hearing today with his decision on whether another U.S. rate hike is on the way. The Fed has raised rates 8 times since March of 2022. The most recent increase was in February when the rate went up a quarter point. Some analysts say the collapse of 2 U.S. banks this month could cause the Fed to hold rates steady and give the U.S. economy some breathing room. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, speaking at the American Bankers Association Tuesday, said the U.S. banking system should remain sound. She also added that Congress should increase the debt ceiling. But critics of the White House, including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, say that won't produce any solid solutions going forward. Well, we're waiting to see if former President Donald Trump will be criminally indicted over alleged hush money payments made on his behalf during the 2016 presidential campaign. If a Manhattan grand jury indicts the former president, it would be an unprecedented moment in American history and the first criminal case against a former U.S. president. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
Some fencing was placed around the U.S. Capitol building on Tuesday in anticipation of protests about former President Donald Trump's potential criminal indictment. While it was pretty quiet in the nation's capital and outside of the Manhattan District Attorney's office, some people stood outside of his Florida home with pro-Trump flags, showing support for the former president.
So this is uncharted territory, and we don't know what this is going to be like.
Todd Belt, the George Washington University Director of Political Management, says no former president has ever been indicted.
I think that it's going to rally more support behind President Trump, as usually happens. Whenever President Trump is in trouble, that means he's back on the agenda, and people are paying attention to him, and his followers rally behind him.
Including a good portion of Republican leaders. Some are showing their support for Trump. Former Vice President Mike Pence called the idea of indicting a former president deeply troubling, and Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy slammed the Manhattan District Attorney in defense of Trump. Belt says with Trump most likely going to get the Republican nomination for the presidential election next year, an indictment could lead to even more political division within the country.
When it becomes about Trump, then both sides really resort to their two opposing corners. And that makes it difficult for anybody to promote compromise or to broker deals or to do the regular functioning of government when all we hear about politics is just whatever Donald Trump's latest problems are.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp reporting.
The U.S. will dramatically accelerate the time it takes to ship Patriot missile systems and tanks to Ukraine. The National Security Council said Tuesday the plan is to send older models of the Abrams vehicles instead of the newer ones the U.S. had pledged. The modern M1A2 tanks have a newer targeting system. However, building new ones or upgrading existing models would take time and require more training. That could be a problem for Ukraine since it's preparing to launch a spring offensive. So the U.S. is changing course and sending M1A1 tanks instead. That will shave off months of time from shipping and reducing the training period. The number of tanks the U.S. plans to send remain the same at 31. Well, coming up next, with more sunshine this time of year, the risk of skin cancer, it increases. We hear from survivors and specialists who are raising awareness today.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Blood and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
The start of spring may have you thinking about getting some rays, but have you remembered to book your yearly skin check, a simple annual appointment that could make a big difference when it comes to seeing if you have skin cancer? WNY News Now's Elspeth Meisner reports on the importance of these annual checks.
A pimple on her chest wouldn't go away. Devin Meddock decided to make an appointment with her dermatologist, where they discovered it was much more than just a pimple.
I just had this gut feeling that there was something abnormal about it, and I'm glad I did, because when they sent it out for a biopsy, it came back to be this rare skin cancer.
Doctors moved fast. It was only a week between Meddock's initial diagnosis to her surgery.
So I had about a size of a baseball taken out of my chest, mostly my left breast, on Thursday, just to make sure it's gone, just to get it all out.
Local dermatology nurse practitioner Lauren Sanita says this is a good reminder for people to get their annual skin checks.
Early detection is always good. We recommend doing a self-skin check once a month, being on top of things yourself, and you always have to take a proactive role. You know, sometimes we see patients once a year, but it's good for them to always be, aware of what they have.
And while the sunshine and warmer weather may have more people flocking to the outdoors, Sanita says that shouldn't be an excuse to not get your skin checked. She also says while it may be tempting, avoiding tanning salons and booths could contribute to a diagnosis.
Tanning, or baking in the sun, tanning salons aren't always the greatest thing. Go into the tanning beds because that does increase your risk that way. Even some of the chemical tanning things that you do aren't the greatest as far as that goes for the skin.
And while Meddock's surgery was successful, she still has a long road ahead.
The issue with this type of cancer is that it has a very high recurrence rate, with like 70%, which is why they have to take out so much area.
Elspeth Meisner, WNY News Now.
All right, Elspeth, thank you very much. And yeah, skin, something I think we all live with, and it's difficult in today's lives, right? And as Elspeth mentioned, everybody's got appointments, and you're going to add one more to that list. But I think making sure that you're healthy is good, and as much as we want to get outside and enjoy the sun, having the steps in place and limiting your time too.
Making sure when you go outside, start spending more time out there. Make sure you put the suntan lotion on, prevent you get sunburn.
Especially if you go on vacation. Like I have gone to Florida in the past for spring break, and you burn so much easier closer to the equator, and I kind of forget about that, right? Like I get there and I'm like, oh, it feels so good on your skin, but you got to do that kind of stuff. And I always, as a kid, would have short hair, get sunburn in my hair. Ugh, it's the worst.
Then if you get sunburn, aloe vera gel, put that on your sunburn. That stuff helps. It will cool your skin down too, especially after a bad sunburn.
Yeah, it is. I got some similar stuff from Hawaii that is just the best in the entire world. Like you put it in the fridge and it cools off, and it's so good. It's so good. They're playing the music, so that means I gotta stop talking. That's gonna do it for us today. We'll leave you with this look over Lakeside Park here in not too much sun today, but nevertheless, we know it's coming back eventually. If you missed anything we talked about, the news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and in our free mobile app in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Have a great day.